Presentations. This is the Tickets Cowboys Postgame Show with Donovan Lewis, Matt McClearin, and the rest of the Ticket team. Get your fill of freshly served hot sports opinions and immediate knee-jerk reactions, along with plenty of P1 pigskin points. Brought to you by Miller Lite, Rally House, Texas, and Sports Radio 96.7 and 1310 The Ticket.
There it is.
We've been clamoring for a game all year long.
Oh, my.
And you finally got one. Good evening, everyone. It's the Cowboys Postgame Show. Donnie Dew alongside my man Matt McClearin. The Cowboys take the victory 41-35 over Seattle. It was a back-and-forth tug-of-war all night long. The Cowboys defense showed us a lot of holes in it. But You know what? When they needed to get the stops, they got the stops, especially on fourth down. This Seattle team, at one point, they were 9 of 11 on third down, 0 for their last 3, and then 0 for 3 on fourth down. And the offense carried the load today as they beat Seattle 41-35. Matt, we always go first impressions of a 41-35 win or any Cowboy game. Give it to me.
Man, this is one of those that we just haven't seen this really all season, to see this type of intense game going down against a team with a winning record. Seattle was 6-5 at home, no less. We're so used to watching the Cowboys blow teams away. Yeah, we're going to nitpick this thing because that's what we do.
Sure.
But the reality of it is, you don't apologize for this. A win is a win, and this is the type of win that you had to gut out. You needed your quarterback to continue playing at an MVP level. I thought he kind of carried this thing, put it on his back. That last drive where he took the lead, a lot of penalties in this game. As you mentioned, a lot of defensive holes in this game. But I'll tell you this, if Philadelphia doesn't have to apologize for beating the Washington Commanders by 3 at home in overtime, Dallas sure as hell doesn't have to apologize for this win tonight. That's a win.
No, of course not. There are 19 penalties combined in this game for 257 yards. The only turnover was a interception thrown by Geno Smith to Deron Bland. He did not have a good day at all, but he did get the interception. And, yeah, we have talked about how abnormal of a season the Cowboys have had, especially at home, just blowing everybody out of the water, and that's not the NFL. This is the NFL. And, yeah, it's probably as tense as you've been this entire year watching a football game.
Easily.
Because when they had the Chargers game, it was the defense that needed to make a stop late in that game, and they did it. And now with this game against Seattle, the defense needed to make a stop. It's one of those, you know what? There are times where your defense is not going to play well and the offense is going to have to carry the load and vice versa, and they did just that. It was just wild as hell, man. This game was wild ass the whole way through. As we talked about the offense, and Dak was sacked 4 times tonight, and it felt like, man, and even the misses that he had on offense, man, Dak played a hell of a game tonight. Like, there were only a couple of games where you thought, whoa, don't throw that. Whoa, what's going on? But just decision after decision kind of led up to the tenseness, because there were a couple times where you thought, okay, maybe they need to kick a field goal here. Yes. They go for it and don't get it. And maybe on that third down when you have the advantage because they have no timeouts left and they throw for the end zone and don't get it, instead of a minute left in the fourth quarter, it's a minute 43, but you're up 6.
Yeah.
So it's just so much back and forth, man. This is NFL football. This is what a game particularly feels like, and I'm pretty sure the NFL and Amazon are pretty happy that it went down like that, because it was tense until the very last minute.
Yeah, man, and it's one of those things, as poorly as the defense played, and they played poorly for the bulk of this game. They were getting picked apart. They had no answers to stop DK Metcalf, well, until they put Stephon Gilmore on him in the second half. But you look at this, the last 3 times Seattle had the ball, the Dallas defense, you had to ask them to make a stop. Seattle's up 35-30, make a stop. They do. They get them off the field. Okay, so Dak, take us down the field and get the lead. Dak does exactly that. All right, defense, now we need you to get another stop. They do that, and then they kick the field goal, and you still left Seattle enough time. Defense make a play. We saw how it was. Jordan Lewis makes a great play on the third down, and then Micah, who
not even touched.
I don't know what Seattle was doing on that.
I don't either.
I'll take it.
Right.
But, man, for everything that happened in this game, when the defense had to make a play, they did it on 3 consecutive times Seattle had the ball. it wasn't the prettiest thing, but, man, that is a win right there, and that's the type of thing that you got to do when you are playing against teams with winning records, and sometimes you got to gut out a win, and they got one tonight.
Yeah, it's again, I think you're going to have some unrealistic expectations because of what we've seen before, but just because they blew a team out at home, it doesn't mean they're going to continue to do that exact same thing, and no matter what you want to think about it, Seattle is a good team. They have a team with a winning record. You won at home to continue your home winning streak. Again, there are going to be a lot of judgments about how it got done and how it's played, but when it's all said and done, you needed to get to 9-3 before Philadelphia for that game against Philadelphia. That was your goal. You talk about the soft belly, whatever you want to call it, of the schedule. You won all 4 of them.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, and that's the goal. No matter how it got done, you got it done. So, yeah, they I'm pretty sure they're going to go to the drawing board and go, woo, man, I don't know what the heck happened defensively. It's one of the few times I've seen Dallas travel a corner. They just don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
They have their corners stick to their sides no matter what's going on, but DaRon Bland was getting eaten up big time. So they said, you know what, Stephon Gilmore, you travel with DK Metcalf, and you really didn't hear anything from him in the second half. So a really good job from Gilmore in the second half. And DaRon Bland doing just enough. Getting the interception, but boy, he did not. He probably had one of his worst days as a Dallas Cowboy tonight.
Overall, and you look at the numbers, Metcalf finishes with 6 for 134 and 3 touchdowns on those 6 catches.
That was early. Yeah, he got that 6th catch early in the third quarter.
I believe he had 3 for 105 in the first half, I believe was the number, so that would have left him with 3 for 29 in the second half, and that's when they decided to make the move to putting Gilmore on him. You look at this, you saw some explosive plays from Seattle. Charbonnet caught him on, what was that, the transition at the end of the third quarter?
End of the third quarter, last play.
That little last play that got him down to the goal line, essentially, on that 39-yard reception where they kind of caught the Dallas defense asleep. Noah Fant had a big 25-yard catch, but outside of that, and Metcalf really tearing him up, that's what was so crazy about this is, and you go back to what was going on in the first half, you're down 21-20 at the half. The amount of penalties that the Dallas defense committed in the first half, they committed, I believe it was 8, 7 were accepted. You had 4 offsides penalties, 4 offsides penalties, 3 pass interference penalties, and an illegal contact penalty, all in the first half, all on the Dallas defense. That's a problem, of course, which led directly to a couple of drives being sustained by Seattle. That's when you kind of knew there was a problem. Second half, Dallas comes out, and I thought the defense played somewhat better, not crazy better, but the offense all game long, like if you watch the broadcast, Herb Street kept, look at this defensive plan that Seattle has for Dallas, and they're doing this, and I was like, dude, Dallas is going down the field at will and putting up points. Yeah, in the red zone, things aren't happening. One of them was a penalty. I think it was a hold. Dak got sacked on a third down.
Yeah.
So it wasn't anything I thought that Seattle was doing defensively. It was Dallas making mistakes, and when they eliminated some of that, they were starting to score more points and putting touchdowns on the board.
It's the 4th regular season game in the history of the NFL that did not have a punt.
Which is insane.
No, every single possession either ended in a turnover on downs, or a scoring play. That's it. And the Cowboys' offense was pretty much on the entire night until you saw early on in the first half some of the red zone issues kind of rear up its ugly head. And as we talked on the show this entire week, if you kind of, I don't want to say play down to the competition because I don't think they did. I think Seattle is a lot better than what people say. They're well coached. They have a lot of weapons on the outside. But if you leave the door open for opportunities for them to go and make plays, then they're going to take advantage. And especially not executing in the red zone and having to settle for field goals. All the penalties, especially at the end of the first half, where Bland got the pass interference, where the Rockwall Stinger man.
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yes.
When he
Rockwall Stinger man.
Where he didn't catch the ball, but they scored on the 1-yard line at the end of the first half and perfectly executed the Belichick turnaround as they score at the beginning of the second half. It looked for a long time like the Cowboys weren't going to pull this off, man, but I'm telling you, it's something about these games, and I think Philadelphia can look the same way with their schedule and how they've played some of these games, and they'll go, all right. It's just, it bees that way sometimes. You're not going to go in there and drill everyone.
Yes.
You've got to win these close games. And you're wondering, can you beat a team with a winning record? You did that. Can you win a close game? You've done that a couple of times this year. So they're going to have a lot of questions. And, again, like you're right, you're going to nitpick the defense because they did not play well at all at times. When they needed to make the big stop, they did. Offense had their back. And when you have to win, sometimes you win games 17-13, and sometimes you win them 41-35. And that graphic of Seattle being 36-0, when they score 35 points or more with Pete Carroll, now you're 36-1 because the Cowboys won a game they absolutely had to have if you have any chance on catching Philadelphia in the NFC East. It's still a long shot, but you left yourself in position to make next week's game pretty damn big if you want to try to get a home game, and you can see that this team plays way better at home than they do on the road. Yeah,
and now, of course, as painful as it may be, we got to pull for San Francisco on Sunday afternoon, hoping that they can knock off the Eagles, get them that second loss, which will set it up in 10 days from now on Sunday, December 10th. It's a Sunday night football game that could give you the opportunity to perhaps hand the Eagles a third loss and at least for the moment be tied atop the division. And I would imagine Philadelphia may still have some of the tiebreakers with conference wins and whatnot, but at least record-wise, you could possibly be the same. You know, all in all, I thought the Dallas offense, again, Dak is just on a different level. He just is. He's 29 of 41 tonight, 299 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think he carried it 7 times for 20-some-odd yards.
23.
Had some nice throws. Even the one throw that at first all of us were like, whoa, that was a risky throw in the end zone to CD. They show the replay. That ball went right between CD's hands.
He put it right where it was supposed to be.
He split defenders.
And only this guy could get it. I couldn't believe he got that ball through.
I couldn't either. And we saw CD a couple of times tonight. He had the drop on the 4th and 2, but he had a monster game as well. 12 catches, 116 yards with the touchdown. All in all, the offense, 411 yards total. Another huge night from this offense that continues to just kind of click along.
We've talked a lot. We talked a lot about how Dak plays a lot better when he has the trust in his security blanket and his tight end. And J-Sap Ferg, man, he was money all night. He was tough, and I thought that touchdown pass was a true testament of trusting exactly where you know your guy is going to be, and you put the ball where he can go get it. Because I thought Adams had decent coverage on Jake Ferguson on that one play, but Dak zipped that thing right up in there, and Jake Ferguson went and grabbed it. That is a true testament, I think, of saying, all right, you're my guy, and I'm going to put it there. Because you know he's going to go to CeeDee Lamb, and again tonight, 12 catches on 17 targets. You all know he's the guy. But when he has that security blanket, knowing exactly where Jake Ferguson is going to be and trust that he's going to be right there, dude, this offense takes it to another level, and they got it to their playmakers. Tony Pollard, 23 touches tonight. CeeDee Lamb, 12 touches. Jake Ferguson, 6. Come on, man. That's spreading it out to the guys you have complete faith in.
Yeah, you take that every day of the week, man. I mean, it was I thought, again, they figured this out a while back, and maybe it did take CD exploding on the sideline against San Francisco. Since then, his numbers have just been outrageous. I mean, he is arguably, if you want to throw out Tyreek Hill, okay, maybe there's another name or two when Justin Jefferson is healthy perhaps, but right now, I don't know that you can say there's a better receiver in the NFL than what CeeDee Lamb has been over the last almost 2 months. And I would say that about Dak Prescott at the quarterback position as well.
No doubt.
The come from behind, comeback win in the fourth quarter against this team, leading them to be able to take the lead at 38-35. Just a phenomenal game from the offense, and that's what I think is so interesting because we have come to believe, and we talk about this all the time, coming into the season, this is a defense. You got to win with defense and don't screw it up offense. Well, then it slowly kind of morphed into, man, this offense is good enough to win, and then when the defense does things, they just smoke teams and blow them off the field. Well, tonight, the defense had an off game, and the offense had to carry the defense, and they did. And I love that the defense, when the offense gave the defense what they needed,
the lead,
the defense finally stepped up and said, okay, thanks.
We'll get the stops.
Finally, we'll take it from here. And they did.
Yeah, they truly, absolutely did. They got 4 stops in the entire game, all in the second half, 1 interception and 3 on downs. And we're talking about these guys and their confidence, and this offense is rolling. Dak is playing really well, CD, Jake. But let me tell you, man, Mike McCarthy may be at his most confident he's ever been. It's just some of these play calls, man. It's almost sometimes you can get a little too confident and too aggressive, but he's right there. The 4th and 2, when you're in field goal range, you're down 1. I can understand that you're deep in their territory. And CeeDee Lamb, he put it right there, and that's one. CeeDee Lamb just dropped it. That would have been a first down. But, you're thinking, okay, you can get the lead at that point. And Mike McCarthy was like, no, man, I don't want the lead. I want to try to go for the jugular. Seattle comes down and scores a touchdown. Now you're down 8. And I thought for a minute, well, I knew that, they had a long 4th down on the next drive, so they definitely had to go for the field goal on that one. But you can just see Mike McCarthy just trying to say, you know what, I have full faith and full confidence in my offense right now, so I'm going to call these plays accordingly. And while they had a little difficulty in the first half in the red zone, after that, man, it's just pure aggression. Even the end, when they left Seattle, I know that's going to be questioned a lot.
I did
lot
not
of time
like that.
on the clock. It's 3rd down.
I didn't understand that because they were out of timeouts. That made no sense to me, especially – okay, maybe you get the touchdown, great, but then what is that, so that you can win the game for all of us in Picks with Friends except for you? Maybe he was listening, was trying to help us out. I don't know. But seriously, outside, I didn't like that one. To me, run the football, run the clock down, then you go out there, you take because you still get the field goal to force them to have to score a touchdown.
And it's 3rd and 3. Maybe you get the first down and just kneel
just
out the whole thing and you're good.
I didn't like that at all. The 4th and 2, I think a lot of people were irritated in hindsight. But that was a great play call. It hit CeeDee. That's the play they wanted. That's a first down. CeeDee catches that ball 99% of the time. He just didn't make the play on that one. So I thought the play worked. It just wasn't executed. Because it's easy to sit there and go, oh, well, they didn't get that. You should have kicked the field goal. Well, if they get it, the guy's a dang genius. It just unfortunately didn't work out in that instant.
Yeah, and at that moment, you're kind of caught up in the moment and you want to get aggressive and you want to make sure that you're putting points on the board as far as, all right, you know what, we're going to have to score more points and score touchdowns. Let's see if we can get one here. No, I didn't have a problem with it at the time.
Yeah.
But then you're saying, man, I think that lets you know how confident he is in this offense to execute. Because early on in the year, there's no way he would have gone for that. Like, not even a chance. But he knows that his quarterback is playing at a really high level right now, and his offense is humming along, and he's calling plays, and he feels really good about what he's doing. So he said, screw it. Let's go do it.
Yeah, I thought one of the other things that was interesting that kind of jumped out to me was the fact that, and I didn't realize this, Dak was sacked 4 times tonight. He hadn't been sacked in 3 straight games. The last time he was sacked before tonight, you have to go back to the November 5th game, and that was interesting because he was under pressure quite a bit tonight. There were times where, you saw the one where Biotish, where the dude went it was Jaron Reed, went right over Biotish like he wasn't even on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Terrence Steele got turned around a couple of times. And we have gotten more used to in the last several weeks this cohesion of the offensive line being so good. And Seattle did some things tonight that I thought the Dallas offensive line struggled with. The flip side of that being Dallas got a ton of pressure. They kept showing that note up on the broadcast that Geno Smith was under a lot of pressure, but they couldn't quite get there to him because Seattle had designed a lot of quick releases and getting rid of the ball. And the problem was when they weren't getting pressure on him, he had too much time to stand back there and was able to attempt to throw the ball deep and hit some passes down the field a little bit.
And they had to adjust, bring in extra people to try to get Geno to even release it even quicker because those receivers in the middle of the field at times, it felt like, oh, man, these guys haven't showing any resistance whatsoever to Dallas secondary. And if they couldn't get to Geno Smith, man, those receivers are like they were running pretty wide open in the middle of the field, and they were paying the price because Geno goes over 300 yards today. The time of possession is heavily in favor of Dallas. And the only sack the Cowboys got was on DJ Davis when they had the handoff, and he was going to throw it back to Geno Smith, and they were going to have a trick play down the field, but he had to keep it, and he didn't gain any yards. So they had one sack, but they never sacked Geno Smith. 23 of 41, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Hey, man, Seattle is a desperate team, and they know they got to keep winning to try to keep their place in the playoff picture And they came in here tonight and played just like that. They played like a desperate team, and they were throwing body blows to Dallas all night long. But you're right. They adjusted accordingly, especially defensively. You can say what we want. We can say what we want, and we will. Because, hey, man, when you allow a team not to punt, your defense didn't play well. But those last 3 drives, those 4 of the last 5 drives, they got off the field with no points, and that's the difference. You do what you've got to do to win games like this when, you know what, on the surface you feel like they could have easily lost that game, and they didn't. Again, we're saying that same thing about the Eagles. They could have easily lost that game, but they didn't. And we're marveling at the fact that, oh, my man, they didn't lose that game. They found a way. And sometimes you need a little luck. And sometimes after you get hit in the mouth, you need to dust yourself off and go out there and just make a stinking play. And that's what the defense did. Not good on third down, but the last 3 third downs, they stopped them. They stopped them on all 4th downs, and that equals a 6-point victory. That's all that matters.
Yes, and now you're 9-3. And that is huge because Seattle is 6-6, and if Dallas had lost, you're 8-4, and Seattle is 7-5, right behind you, and they own that tiebreaker against you. And again, as we mentioned, you keep pace with Philadelphia.
Everything.
You are keeping pace with Philadelphia right now at 9-3. And one thing that I liked was the first half was so wonky because of the amount of penalties that were called. And then you look at the second half. Dallas, I know they had 7 penalties.
I think they had 8 at the half.
Okay, because they finished with 9 for 127.
Yeah, I think they only had 1 in the second half.
So that type of adjustment of not committing the penalties they were committing in the first half, I thought the defense overall played better. And as you just pointed out, especially at the end of the game, and I mean, that's what you want these teams to do. You're not always going to have your best game. You're not always going to blow teams off the field by 20-plus points. You and I have spent so many times on our show during the week talking about that. I think that Cowboys fans this season have gotten a little spoiled, and we knew this was going to happen. Okay, what if they only beat Seattle by, let's say, 3-4 points, a touchdown, what have you? People are going to look at that and say, oh, well, they must not be as good. They should have blown them off the field. And that just doesn't happen in the NFL. But the Cowboys had done that at such a bizarre rate this year that I think that that's kind of become the expectation. And I get it. Many people are going to look at this and say, so what, it's Seattle, who cares? Do it against Philadelphia. And now they have that opportunity. And as we mentioned last week, man, I swear we've said this 10 times in the last 2 weeks. Winning these games, beating New York, Carolina, Washington, and today's Seattle
was a must.
Make Philadelphia matter.
Yep. It was a must. You had to have these games. You are at home. You're playing really well at home. You are better than these teams. You go get it. Yeah, they had 1 penalty in the second half, and it was a face mask on Bell on the very first touchdown drive out of the second half. That was it. They had another one declined because Bell was holding on the touchdown that Geno Smith ran up the middle. But that's it. That's the only penalty they had in the second half. They moved Gilmore over to DK Metcalf, and you didn't hear anything from him after that. I think he had 1 catch in the second half. I'll check those numbers. But overall, not a good day for the defense. They give up 35 points, but the offense had their back. The formula for the beginning of the year, like we talked about, was, hey, offense, get us to 21, get us to 24. We're going to win these football games because we've got this. And every now and then, you're going to have your brother's back. I am my brother's keeper. You're going to have to do it. And the offense carried this game today and carried this to a win. Now, against Philadelphia, it may be the reverse. I don't know if I'm going to see this defense having this bad of a game 2 times in a row at home. But even if they do, this offense is playing at a level that we haven't seen in a long time. Even when they were scoring a lot of points under Kellen Moore, this just looks different.
Yeah.
It feels different. And Dak is playing some of his best football he's played in his whole entire career.
Yeah. That's 7 consecutive games now of him playing at this level. And on the season, that's now 26 touchdowns through the air with just 6 interceptions. And 3 of those interceptions all came in that San Francisco game. I mean, the guy has been, maybe you don't believe he's elite, maybe you don't put him on that level for his career, but he has been this season one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL for the season of 2023. He is very much so in the MVP conversation.
No question. And I think sometimes, a lot of times, good teams overcome games where they're making a lot of mistakes, even questionable play calling, even questionable decisions. the one side of the ball that you had the most confidence in not playing well, and you can still grab the dub. Again, they're not going to be satisfied. They're going to be mad. I will guarantee you're going to hear the quotes from this defense, and when they talk to the players, they're going to be pissed about what happened on the field.
They should be pissed.
When you look up at the scoreboard and you see the W, that's going to make you feel a lot better. And they have a ton to work on, and they have a mini bye week to get themselves prepared for the biggest game of the year so far. And you've had a couple of steps. We talk about on our program, Matt, you talk about quizzes and tests. Yeah. And they've had all these quizzes and a couple of different tests. And they failed those tests, but they've been passing the hell out of these quizzes right now. So it feels like it's not even feeling like this is the passing grade for this year. You're 9-3.
Yeah.
So, you're passing the season so far, but you have a few more tests to go. So now you have extra time to study for this next test coming up, and you're at home against the team that's in front of you that you're trying to catch. You put the Band-Aid on whatever the hell that was happening with this defense today and try to fix what was wrong and how they allowed Seattle just to move the ball up and down the field. And if you can do that and the offense can continue to play like they're playing at home, then you're going to have a chance to probably, guess what? Be in another close game with a chance to move up in the division. That's all you can ask for. Again, a lot of people are going to question it. And I know we're going to take calls here, and they're going to some people aren't going to be happy, and I get it. I understand it. But a win is a win, bro, especially when you didn't play your best, and you gave up all the yards, and you had all these penalties and did all that. Your defense made the stops when it counted.
You can look across the league. We mentioned the Philadelphia game earlier this year where they went to overtime at home against Washington, win by 3. Any team that is at the top of the NFL, whether you look at Detroit, whether you look at San Francisco, Miami, the Chiefs, whomever you want to look at, they all have wins over teams that they probably should have beat more handedly, that they eked out. Because this is the NFL, and this is the type of game that you expect to see a lot more of than the games that we have seen the previous 3 weeks, especially from the Dallas Cowboys. That's not how the NFL is designed. It's a tough league. If you don't play your best, other teams are going to beat your ass. And tonight, the Cowboys' defense obviously didn't play their best and were at the risk of getting their ass beat. But Dak and the offense said, okay, well, we'll bail you out this time. And that's exactly what they did. 41 points, another 30-plus point game from this offense.
Man, it's so many little plays in this game that came back to haunt Seattle. The delay of game on their 37-yard field goal attempt.
They pushed it
that
back.
Moved them back 5 yards, and Myers wound up missing that field goal early in the game when they could have tied the score up at 10. Like, there's some of those things you just don't even think about toward the end of the game, but that's huge.
I mean, they missed a field goal early on that went wide right to tie it 10-10.
That's exactly what I just said.
Yes.
I mean, exactly to the T.
I was reading my notes. I apologize.
You were ignoring me. I mean, if I want to be ignored, I'd go home, okay? Stop ignoring me here at the station. And then it's just some of the miscommunication that they had late in the game as far as not being able to handle the pressure like they had the entire game. Geno Smith had a little pressure, but he was able to get rid of the ball because of the plays that they called. And I thought their receivers did a really good job of finding the open spots quickly so they wouldn't let the pressure get to Geno, and he was getting rid of the ball in time. Kirk Herbstreit on the broadcast kept talking about how they were kind of getting on Geno Smith because he holds the ball just a little too long waiting for those guys to get open. And that didn't happen today, dude.
Yeah.
He was firing on all cylinders early on, getting the ball to his receivers. But the Cowboys later on had to dial up the pressure so they can get to Geno Smith quicker and knock him off of his game. And they did just that with those last three possessions, because it seemed like every single one of them started out like, they're going to move the ball up and down the field again and everything. They're going to score and they're going to take the lead again. But the Cowboys settled in defensively and converted on those third downs. Just think at the first one where the first time they went out on downs. They got 3 first downs and had the 4th and 1, and that's when Charbonnet was tackled by DeMarcus Lawrence on the 4th and 1. Great play. And if DeMarcus Lawrence didn't get there, I feel Donovan Wilson was right there to make the tackle also. Yeah. The Cowboys showed up on that play in their territory on that 4th and 1. And then the second time they had it, they got the first down to Smith and Jigba on an 18-yard pass, and it's 4th and 4 at the 49 midfield, and that's when the pressure got to Geno Smith, and he just had to throw it up for grabs. Bland almost got the interception on that one, but it just fell short. And then on the last one on downs was, again, dialing up pressure. They get the first down again to Tyler Lockett for 17 yards, and you're thinking they're going to go down and get the win and win this thing by one.
So you were thinking that too.
Well, no, I'm just repeating what you said.
Okay.
Like you're the Muppet. You're moving my mouth with your words.
I bet.
And so then on 4th and 2, you don't touch Michael Parsons?
Yeah,
what
that
the
was
hell
weird.
kind of offensive scheme is that? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that was strange, man. I was not expecting to see that at all. And part of you thinks whenever you see Micah do that, oh my God, was he offsides? Like, did he jump early? How did he get so clean back there? Then they show the replays. Like, nobody
touched him.
Just okay.
And I don't care who you
at 'em.
are. I don't care who you are, what quarterback you are. If you're trying to get the ball out of your hands quickly and you don't block 11, that's your ass.
Makes for a long night.
All right, here's the number right here. See if I can point right correctly. 972. Am I the other way?
It's so delayed. I don't know, where is it?
Right there. Okay. 972.
There's the number.
708.
Operators are standing. Call by.
4313. That's it. It's on the screen. Okay, I'm pointing at it. It's on the screen. 972-708-4313 is the number. Matt McClearin and Donovan Lewis here on the Cowboys postgame show. I would point to me and you, but I don't want to do it. I'm so backwards. All right, it's 40. Hang on. You going to do it? You going to point?
I don't know. It's already messed up.
41-35. The Cowboys take care of business against Seattle to win. Are you doing it correctly?
I hope so.
I don't know.
There's no way to know.
There's no way to know, indeed. It is I think you did say this while we were watching the game, Matt, and it's true. You kind of forgot how tense it was to watch a close football game because of how the Cowboys have been performing here.
Right.
And it's been some points to where, it's a one-score game, but you never felt like the other team was going to win the game. You always felt like Dallas was going to win.
Yeah.
That feeling was not happening tonight.
Not at all.
not
at all
happening
tonight.
whatsoever against Seattle. They came in with a really good game plan, especially on that first drive where they had Metcalf, and it was a really good pass and catch with those guys. And, of course, he gets into the open field. And there is no catching him.
Off.
But that was a 3rd and 8
Yep.
that they converted for 73 yards. You're going, wow, okay, this is going to be a game. I knew from then on it was going to be a slugfest, but I had no clue that every time these teams touched the ball, it was either a scoring play, a scoring attempt. I had no clue that was going to be the case.
Yeah.
But you got to win these games by any means necessary, and the Cowboys did just that. It was fun. It really was.
It was, because we haven't had that
really
since the Chargers game, and that wasn't even as intense as this one.
No, that was a defensive game. That was 20-17. Now you just double the points, and now you see the offense is just moving the ball up and down the field. You wonder if I was going to say you wonder, can they keep this up this entire season, man? Because, yes, you're playing teams that aren't very good. But, again, Seattle is better than what you've seen. Out of the underbelly of this schedule that you've had, this is the best team you've played by far. And you worry that the defense has a couple of holes that – because we've always seen it in a drive or two. No matter what game they played, you'll see even Carolina going a 15, 16 play drive. And you're going, man, what the heck is happening? But they get their act together pretty quickly. And in this game, it took 3.5 quarters for the Cowboys to get their act together on defense to get the stops that they could get. So, man, that is tense stuff right there. All right, you want to go to the phones?
Let's do it. Let's see.
Again,
who wants to chat?
That number is 972-708-4313. We are going to go to Grady in Burleson. What's up, Grady?
Hey, Donnie. How's it going, man?
Great. How are you?
Good. I was wanting to bring up Micah, man. He, even on the first play tonight, he looked like he ran right into the left tackle, and he was defeated all night long other than the last play. What's up with him?
You know what? He's going to get all the attention in the world. He's Michael Parsons. Everyone's going to know where 11 is on the field. So he's going to have to battle double teams, maybe even triple teams, and his other teammates are going to have his back and pick him up and make those plays when they're one-on-one. That's what everyone knows that's going to happen, and Micah does also. But you saw him, again, when you see statistics and you're thinking, man, he's not getting any sacks, maybe what's going on or whatnot. But, man, that dude was present today. You saw him having an effect on the game and those other guys stepping up and making some plays. He is officially credited with 2 tackles, but he had 3 quarterback hits, and those are big. That's pressure. So,
yeah, and part of it, too, Next Gen Stats put this out, and they showed it on the broadcast, and this was at the end of the third quarter. Geno Smith was pressured on 54.5% of his dropbacks tonight, the highest race that he has faced in any game he's played in the Next Gen Stats era, in part due to the fact that he was getting rid of the football in 2.4 seconds. So that's part of the reason as well why maybe Micah and others didn't have sacks, and it might have seemed like they weren't getting to him. If the quarterback's getting rid of the ball in 2.4 seconds,
it's tough to get sacks.
You're not going to get to the quarterback very often.
But you can pressure him.
Yeah, you can get some pressure, but as far as getting to him, and we saw the one where I thought Micah had the sack when he got his foot wrapped up, and Geno somehow, as he's falling to the ground, got rid of it right before he hit the ground.
And there was another time where he kind of underhanded it right to the running back so he could avoid another sack. So while the numbers say, all right, they only got 1 sack, and that was Jonathan Hankins on DJ Dallas.
Micah was a problem tonight.
They did get pressure, yes. All right, let's go to David in Denton. Hello, David. You're on the postgame show. Matt,
Hi,
Donovan.
Hi, Donovan. How are you?
Great, man. How are you?
Doing good. Hey, I just want to tell you, I'm 1 semester in graduating from A&M Commerce, and you were one of the reasons I went there.
Go Lions. That's awesome, David.
Go Lions. Yes, sir.
No doubt.
I wanted to know, what's our deal with all the penalties? Like, how are we going to clean that up? I know, we survived it tonight, but eventually it might bite us. And Cowboys fans, come on, enjoy the win. I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you, David. Go Lions. It's definitely a problem. 9 for 127. Together, both teams had 257 yards of penalties today. That was a raggedy-ass game with those penalties today. And, yes, I know they're going to have to clean that up. I guarantee you, Coach McCarthy has said in his press conference that they've got to clean the penalties up. He said it in the 22 seconds he was on with the sideline reporter.
He said it all off. It was a problem last year.
Yeah, no, it definitely was.
The offsides is where I just don't. What the hell are you doing, man? Like, look down the line. Are you lined up offsides? And that is happening at least once or twice every single game. And the pre-snap stuff is what drives them insane because that should not happen. Lining up multiple times offsides in the same football game is just preposterous.
And you know what? Seattle's going to say that same thing.
Because
they had 5 penalties on 1 drive.
I know, that was nuts.
9 first downs for the Cowboys on 1 drive because of all the penalties. And there was a touchdown taken away because of a hold on Terrence Steele. You had the interference at the end of the first half that allowed Seattle to get another touchdown.
Yeah.
So those were critical penalties, but Seattle's saying the exact same thing. So I'm almost like it's a wash from both teams. So maybe you're thinking that's why this game was so close because of the penalties that the Cowboys committed, but Seattle can say that exact same thing.
No, you're right.
We didn't have 10 for 130. We would have blown them off the field.
Yeah, they got
I know
away
they're
from
saying
it.
that right now.
Sure, and we'll say that same thing as you're mentioning as Cowboys fans, man, but it's the offsides. I just do not understand.
No.
Dante Fowler, I swear, once a game gets an offside because he just lines up offsides.
Hell, it looked like Micah was offsides on the next to the last play. It looked like he lined up offsides.
We were both like,
yeah.
is that not in the
Dude,
neutral
what the
line?
heck is it? It really doesn't make any sense, and I know they're concentrating and focusing on it. It seems like you can have the coach right there at the line of scrimmage saying, scoot your ass back right now.
Maybe they need like
a
a little Jose Altuve buzzer where they just buzz them. I'm lined up offsides? Ridiculous.
Bringing it back to the Astros. Dallas. In Dallas.
All right.
You're on the post-game show.
Donnie, Matt, hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm leaving the game right now, and the energy at the game tonight was awesome. It's easily the best game I've ever been to. Win or lose, it would have been amazing. the energy has to go into the next game. If you are a Cowboys fan, do not sell your tickets. An Eagles fan is going to ruin the experience. That is I beg y'all, it has to be just as good next week.
Awesome.
You know what,
I
Dallas?
agree, Dallas.
I 100% agree, and I think that
Yes.
place is going to be fire because the energy being great, I think they had a lot to do with this game being close because a lot of people probably went in there thinking that the Cowboys not only were going to cover, they're going to kick Seattle's ass. So, it's just going to see another butt whooping, and you're going to have fun, and we're going to dance and all that. And that thing wound up being as tense as it gets, and I'm pretty sure the atmosphere was wonderful. But next week, man, it has to be, and especially if the game is kind of like this and it's tight.
It's
like,
the Eagles,
you're thinking
man.
it's going to be. Yeah, they're going to have some representation no matter what.
That's
Eagles
gonna be
fans
great.
travel,
Yeah.
and it's going to be fun. But this was a nice precursor to see just how electric that place is going to be. So, Dallas, I appreciate that, man. That's awesome. That's a live report from the stadium saying how great it was in there. Now, I'm pretty sure if they would have lost that game, he probably wouldn't have thought it was that great.
Nope.
Like, he said it was electric and it was fun. But
yeah, I mean, at the end, it had to be just bonkers.
Right. Anytime you can see the tribute to Tom Landry, it's always a good time at AT&T Stadium. And you've seen that now 13 games in a row?
I think it's 15, isn't it?
15 wins in a
Or
row?
is it 14?
I think.
Don't you host a radio show?
Yeah, don't you? I think it's 12.
It's really just your show.
13?
14 in a row.
Thank you. Thank you for correcting Matt.
All right. Yes. All mistakes are mine.
Yes. Thomas in Grand Prairie. You're on the postgame show with Matt and Donovan. Hello, Thomas.
What's up, Donnie and Matt?
What's up, man?
Hey, listening to you every day. Keep doing what you're doing, Playboy. We love it.
Thank you.
Just wanted to call out. The defense didn't play like we wanted it to. Bland got beat up horribly tonight, but credit goes to DQ for making the shift and having the DBs move. I think that was beautiful. What are your thoughts? Oh, and wait a minute. Hold up. Shout out to Al Harris, but what are your thoughts?
I would love to know the last time the Cowboys defense had a cornerback travel. That's just not their game. They don't do that. And just to say, you know what? Deron Bland, you've been fine, man.
Yeah,
we love the picks and the pick sixes.
Pretty awesome.
But we've got to do something here or we're going to get run out of this damn building.
Yeah.
And they made that adjustment. And Gilmore was good on Metcalf in the second half because you just didn't hear anything from him. So making that adjustment, yeah, you have to give it up for DQ or Al Harris or whoever made it for those guys to make sure that they stayed in the game. They ran 44 plays in the first half. And they had what was the stat that we saw from Seattle when they scored that touchdown in the third quarter? Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. I felt that they had 36 plays and 28 points, and that's
about right. Yeah.
Remarkable for a defense of Dallas's caliber that we've seen play really well earlier, and they had 28 points on 36 plays. But when they needed to make those stops, man, that's all that counts. The dub on top and you making those adjustments to where you can finally get stops on third down. I felt like it was going to be an historic night on third down for Seattle because the Cowboys just could not get off the damn field. They were 9 of 11. And then in the fourth quarter, they went 0 for 3 on third down, and then 0 for 3 on fourth down. So the Cowboys held their water when they had to. But you look at Dallas on offense, they had 33 first downs, 8 of 14 on third down themselves, 79 total plays and 411 yards. And the defense gave up 406 total yards in 15 less plays. So, yeah, you saw that they probably had maybe their worst game of the year, but they still got the win. And they're going to go, phew, thank you, offense. They're going to give them late Thanksgiving, early Christmas presents for bailing their asses out of the fire in this game, because this is all we would have been talking about if they would have lost this game tonight. What the hell happened to this defense?
Yep.
And they couldn't get Seattle off the field. Let's go to Tully in North Carolina. Tully, you're on the postgame show.
Hey, Donnie. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Just want to let you know that exciting time out at the club with all my boys and the Cowboys fans here in North Carolina. You wouldn't believe it. But I'll say to what you had to say, Donnie, that sometimes it's about surviving those flat performances, and the defense did step up when they had to. And hats off to Dak too, though. 299 yards, 3 touchdowns. We held court, and sometimes it's about surviving that flat week, from time to time. And I think they did that. And hats off to the Cowboys. I think we'll be better prepared next week. But your thoughts on that?
Well, you better be better prepared next week, because you play that same way defensively against Philadelphia, they may put up 70.
Yeah.
you gotta be better, and they're going to come out with a game plan to slow down Philadelphia on offense and what they do. But yeah, you've got to survive. And you look at anyone's schedule, like just pick a team, pick a really good team, and you look up and down their schedule, and then you're going to see a week where they go, whew, okay, we survived that when we probably were supposed to just run that team off of the field, and we survived. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm trying to look and see like Kansas City. They beat the Jets by 3. They beat the Vikings on the road by 7. Like, those are survival games. You didn't play your best, but you got the win. You got the dub. And to be a good team and for these games that you have circled to matter any,
right,
you've got to win these games you're favored in. And while it wasn't the, hey, man, 3-score blowout that we've seen before, it wasn't feed up because we get Cooper Rush in the game. No. It's all about 4-0 in these games, which I call the most important stretch of the season. Because if you lose 1 or 2 games, those games, then you go into that Philadelphia game 7-5. Who cares?
You're right.
Who cares?
You're exactly right. It's about winning. And you look around the league, which we have done, and we've talked about how many close games Philadelphia has played to get that record to where it is. The bizarre loss that they had to the Jets, where they have to be thinking, man, we could be undefeated. How in the world did the Jets beat us? You look at the Dolphins, who are 8-3. They beat the Patriots by 7. Then just a couple of weeks ago, only beat the Raiders by 7 and only put up 20 points on the Raiders. It's the NFL, man. This happens. The key is, can you grind out and find a way in the fourth quarter to pull out the win?
It's the no fun league with all these damn penalties.
Is that what
you
they
know
say?
what I'm saying? Hey, man, another shout out to J-Sap Ferg, though. That cat was a monster today.
He was a beast. He took a couple of nasty hits.
And
too,
then he
man.
got up with the first down right in the dude's face, and then he gets in Adam's face, and
yeah.
they're going at it. Dude,
He wasn't backing down.
From anyone. Hell, he's big enough. He shouldn't back down from anyone.
I agree.
Bart, Southlake, you're on the postgame show.
Hello, Invasion.
Hello,
Hello.
Bart.
Hey, Donnie. Welcome home, Matt.
Thank you.
So it's all good. It all worked out. Cowboys win. But late in the third, Deron Bland finally gets redemption after getting burned all night by Metcalf. He gets the interception, gives the Cowboys the ball on 38-yard line. They go 3 plays and face 4th and 2 and go for it. Failed to do so when they were down 28-27. Could have taken the lead. If Barry Switzer would have done that, he would have been torched out of town. I guess that's the new NFL. But what did you guys think at that point when you walked away from taking the lead at that point?
Yeah, I think in the moment, pretty much 85 to 90% of the people are just Madden players, so they're going to go for it, and they want to be aggressive.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, when they don't get it, you kind of go back and say they should have kicked it. But 4th and 2 at Seattle's 30, I think the only thing that crosses your mind, like Bart just said, is taking the lead. And I think a lot of coaches pretty much really want to take the lead at that point and capitalize on getting that turnover. But if you can capitalize with a touchdown at that point, you feel that maybe that's the time you can kind of put the arm around the neck and squeeze a bit, because they may start panicking if they're down by, 7, 6, 7, 8 points or whatever you do if you score that touchdown.
Yeah, and
so
I think part of it, too, goes into you look at what the Dallas offense was doing to their defense all night, and the flip side being true as well at that point where, okay, God, holy crap, we got an interception. We actually got to stop. we haven't stopped them all night.
Right. So we got to.
So it's not our night on defense.
Right.
So if we kick the field goal, do I believe my defense is going to make a stop because I haven't seen them do it?
Right.
And I think that plays into it at that point as well.
And you know what? On the flip side, they didn't. Because
true.
after they got stopped, they
Right.
went down and scored a damn touchdown.
Exactly
so
right.
it was like, okay, we've got to score points to beat this team. And it felt like, I will bet you he's felt a little redeemed about that, saying, see, we didn't even stop him because our defense hasn't made a play. And then the defense finally did.
I mean, you have to understand the game that you're in. Normally you'd say, this Dallas defense, I count on them. But McCarthy's sitting there watching that thing going, well, why we haven't stopped them all night? Field goals isn't going to win this thing.
No.
We've got to get touchdowns if the opportunity is here.
We'd like to thank Desperados for feeding us once again because
Very
they
much so.
brought probably my favorite, and Joe knows this, the burgers. Like, I didn't even put my stuff down when I got here. I had a backpack.
You were so excited you threw food on the
I
floor.
dropped my top bun on my burger.
I don't want this fork. I don't want this burger. This is
What the hell
amazing.
is going on? I was so excited about
You
getting
were.
the food that I didn't even put my stuff down, and I almost dropped it. And because I made it perfectly, dude, because they brought all the sides and everything.
They did.
Desperados,
So
they
tasty.
treat us so right here at the Ticket, and they will do that exact same thing for you. They have 2 locations. You've got to go for lunch or
They're
dinner.
fantastic, man.
If you have anything that needs to be catered, they do a wonderful hamburger. You think Desperados and Mexican food, and they're great. It's awesome. Those burgers are top choice.
I even put some queso on my burger.
Did you really?
I did.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Okay, I'll go have another one. I'll put queso on it, eat it on the way home.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. 41-35. The Cowboys win. They are now 9-3, and now they have a little bit of a mini bye. They have 10 days to prepare for their next test, and that's Philadelphia coming here. They get the home game. They try to get some revenge. First off, they're going to sit back and watch Philadelphia and San Francisco, just like everybody else, to see if San Francisco can go into Philadelphia and get a win.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time ever, they will be rooting for the 49ers to see if they can get that close. How do you feel about that game? You think San Francisco can go to Philadelphia and get a dub?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I believe I picked them in Picks with Friends to win. Maybe I need to email that. But, yes, I do think San Francisco is going to take down Philadelphia. They should have lost last week against Buffalo. Somehow pulled a rabbit out of a hat. But the way San Francisco has been playing lately, I think Philadelphia is going to lose again. I actually think Dallas has a really, really good chance to beat them. They played a great game in Philadelphia when they lost by 5 points a few weeks back. But I do think that San Francisco is going to just get past Philadelphia on Sunday afternoon.
I do think it's pretty encouraging that the last 3 drives that Dallas had tonight, they got their stops. And then 4 out of the last 5, they got stops. They got the interception on one. They allowed the touchdown on the next one. And then they got those 3 stops on downs to help the offense, give the ball back to the offense. They go down and take the lead. The defense gets a stop. The Cowboys increase the lead, and then the defense gets to stop to win the game. So while we say that they really were not good tonight, they were good when it counted. And they got the stops, and they got the pressure on Geno Smith when it counted to go and win that game. And, yeah, man, that was fun. That was one of those where it makes your stomach hurt. You don't sit down. You're kind of pacing a bit because you're not used to this tension, and you're not used to this Cowboy team being in these tight games. And we're thinking, can you win tight games against good teams? And a lot of people are going to dismiss Seattle for not being a good team. I have not been one of those people. I think Seattle is well coached, and I think they have some weapons on the outside like we saw today that they can go out there and make plays. Now, you want the Cowboys defense to play better for sure, but it was one of those games to where it was a slugfest. It was rocky. It was throwing haymakers, rearing back and throwing haymakers every single time. And the last one to connect is the last one that wins. And the Cowboys offense was on point pretty much all night long, and their defense did just enough.
Great win. And there's a couple people who are going to look at this, probably more than a couple people who will sit here and say, like I just got this tweet, everybody's calling this a big win. I just see a team that gave up 35 points to a 500 team that won't make the playoffs. Okay, well, if that's how you want to look at it, that's your prerogative. Welcome to the NFL. So I guess, and I'll go back to Philadelphia, I guess when you look at Philadelphia's win over Washington, you just see a Philadelphia team that gave up 31 points at home and had to win in overtime against an under 500 Washington team. Every team's got one of these. The key is when you don't play your best and the other team's playing at a level that's probably the best they can play at, can you still beat them?
And even if you think the Cowboys play down to their competition, in the past you've seen these Cowboys teams lose this game handily. And even if it's like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe they lost this game to a team they should have beaten, and they got the win. Really, really fine play on fourth down from DeMarcus Lawrence and Donovan Wilson to get that stuff on Charbonnet to get the first stop on downs. And it feels like that elevated the defense's confidence to give up a couple of yards, yes, but when it got down to the fourth down, man, they stiffened up big time to stop Seattle, especially and it started up front with the pass rush. Every time they got to those third and fourth downs in the fourth quarter, they stepped it up a notch when they needed to get those stops. So while early on Seattle's offense looked like it couldn't be stopped, when it truly, truly mattered, this defense made the play. Now, they're going to be super, uber critical of themselves and saying they did not have a good day whatsoever. But, man, you make those big stops when it counts on third and fourth downs when it counts. That's what good teams do. And that's what teams do when they need to go will themselves a win at home when you're not playing your best on one side of the ball. And that was the case tonight.
It's just games like this truly only really carry a lot of weight if you lose. Because when you win, again, as we have said time and time again, you have to win games like this so that the Philadelphia game in 10 days matters. It matters as much as it does. Because the reality of it is the goal is to try to get to the playoffs and to do the best you can. And to do that, to give yourself the best chance at seeding, doesn't matter if you win 41-35 or 41-0. It still counts the same in the standings. And you've got to stack those wins and try and get there. And then when we get to the playoffs, if they have success in the playoffs, nobody's going to point and go, man, I wonder if they could have gone further if only they'd beaten Seattle by 14 more points. Remember that game? And they only won by 6? That's how come they didn't get past the NFC title game or the divisional round. That's not going to happen. You got to stack these wins now so that those games carry weight so that when you play the big boys that you're about to play in the next 4 weeks, those games can perhaps elevate you for a chance at a home playoff game. I don't know. We'll see. You need some help probably with Philadelphia.
Hey, you have to do your part first
but
in
you got
order
to
get
put yourself
the
in possession.
Yeah,
in position.
yeah. 9-3 is what we felt, and I'm going to put words in your mouth. We felt that was the minimum to try and make this Philadelphia game count and mean something. And they went through that test with one tense game out of the whole bunch.
Yeah.
When we talked about this this part of the schedule where you had to get those 4 games. And you know me, I'm always saying, look, it's really tough to get 4 wins in a row in the NFL. Even if you have 3 of them at home, even if you're playing teams that you're better than, that's tough to win all those games in a row. And this team did that when it truly mattered. They're on the ass end of this long stretch of this soft side of the schedule. And this was the toughest, but they got the win. So we will be back tomorrow at 10 to talk more about 41-35. The Cowboys take care of business against Seattle. It was a game we weren't used to having tense. What was it, Joe? Where was it that Matt almost ran out? Who was he chasing on the TV screen?
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb, yeah. Oh, on the
hit
jet
that play.
sweep.
I thought he was going to score and hit the cover.
Yeah.
And all of us in Picks with Friends but you took the Cowboys.
You almost ran out of the room trying to chase CD on the damn TV screen. That was really funny, dude. I really like that.
That was awesome.
But we'll be back 10 o'clock, and we will have a ton of Cowboys-Seahawks in this game. We'll have some numbers. Creighton, Joe, thank you guys so very much. We truly appreciate it. Thank you once again to Desperados for catering tonight's meal. They brought it like they bring it every single week. We truly appreciate it. Thank you guys for calling in and listening. The Musers will join you at 5:30. We will be here from 10 to 1. We got one. We'll have just a sip, but we'll have a lot of Cowboys and Seahawks in a game that is pretty dang exciting for the first time in a long time.
A lot of fun, man.
We had exciting
Enjoyed that one
football.
tonight.
We truly did. All right, we'll talk to y'all again tomorrow at 10 a.m. to talk Cowboys-Seahawks. See ya. We'll
Our
holler.
time on the Cowboys postgame show is done and dusted. But there's more Cowboys reaction and hot sports opinions on the game with the Musers in the morning, starting tomorrow at 5:30. Up next, the Cowboys have another NFC East matchup, this time against the New York Football Giants, Sunday afternoon at Jerry World. Our Cowboys countdown to kickoff with Sean Bass, David Newberry, and Corby Davidson starts at 1. Cowboys postgame show is streaming online afterwards. Brought to you by Miller Lite, Rally House, Texas, and Sports Radio 96.7 and 1310 The Ticket. We now return to our regularly scheduled programming, whatever that is, on Sports Radio 96.7 and 1310 The Ticket.